The purpose of this video is to review epithelial tissue and its major functions. The first thing that I want to talk about is where you're going to find epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue is going to cover surfaces of the body. And not just the skin, but also surfaces of organs inside of the body. It's going to line spaces and cavities that are found inside the body. And number 3, it's going to make up glands and ducts. So it's a major component of glands and ducts. Now, there are 3 basic functions that epithelial tissue has. Number 1 is protection. Epithelial tissue is going to protect underlying tissues from stress. Number 2 is secretion. Now, the secretions that epithelial tissues release play a variety of roles. Some of it is to provide a lubrication so that organs don't rub against one another. Another could be almost as protection as well from microbes and bacteria and viruses that try to invade the body. And then the third is to absorb substances. So these here are the basic functions of epithelial tissue. Now, you can classify epithelial tissue in numerous ways, but there are 2 basic things that you need to figure out first. Number 1, you need to decide how many layers of cells there are. Number 2, you have to figure out what shape the cells are. First of all, number of layers. Simple epithelium consists of 1 layer of cells, while stratified epithelium consists of multiple layers of cells. And there's a third called pseudostratified, where it looks like it's many layers, like looks stratified. But, whoops, but really just 1 layer. So those are the 3 layers. And then you would combine the term simple, stratified, or pseudostratified with the shape of cell that you have. So the 3 pictures that you see here demonstrate what the 3 different shapes of epithelial cells are. So this one here, these are squamous cells. Squamous cells are flat and thin. The nucleus is flat. And their width is greater than their height. Because they're so thin, they're going to allow ions and small molecules to pass through them. So they're going to allow the passage of, or the transport of ions and molecules through the tissue. Oh, that was my dog. That was not me. All right, this second picture here, these are cuboidal cells. And cuboidal epithelial cells are going to differ from squamous cells, in that, well, they're a little bit puffier. Their height is equal to their width, but they're not necessarily four-sided. They actually have about 5 or 6 sides, but they have more cytoplasm. And since these cells are thicker, they're not going to allow for the transport of ions and molecules through them. Their nucleus is spherical. And their main roles are protection and secretion. Oh, and I should probably mention that the function here of these epithelial tissues is that they provide protection from chemical and mechanical stress. So they do that to the organs and structures that they line. So anyway, back to our pictures. Picture C here, these are columnar epithelial cells. And as you can see here, they have a long rectangular shape. So their height is greater than their width. And the nucleus is usually spherical, or it could even be oblong in shape. And one interesting thing is that the surface can have different structures, like cilia or microvilli. Oftentimes their function is going to be absorption or mucus secretion. I should probably mention here that the glandular epithelium is typically made up of stratified columnar and stratified cuboidal cells, and they typically are going to make up the large glands that are a part of the pancreas, or the large ducts of the pancreas, the liver, and the salivary glands. So when we're talking about classification, you could take one of these different layer types, and then you would combine them with the different shape of the cell. So you could have a layer of squamous and call it simple squamous, or you could have a layer of cuboidal and call it simple cuboidal or simple columnar. Or if you have multiple layers of squamous cells, you would call that stratified squamous, or stratified cuboidal for many layers of cuboidal, or stratified columnar. Now, pseudostratified typically refers to cuboidal or columnar cells. You're not going to see that associated with squamous cells. So that's it for epithelial, and go to the next video for connective tissue. Thanks.